Somewhere in your childhood, you received a compliment that wasn't actually a compliment. You were told, "You are so mature for your age." Or perhaps, "You're such an old soul." At the time, you wore this like a badge of honor. It felt good to be the one who could handle things, the one who didn't need supervision, the one who understood the adults better than they understood themselves. But looking back, that maturity was a lie. It wasn't a personality trait. It was a survival strategy. You didn't choose to grow up fast. You were drafted. If you are watching this, you probably look successful on the outside. You are the fixer, the rock, the person everyone relies on. You are the friend who sends the "text me when you get home" message, but never receives it. But on the inside, you are exhausted in a way that sleep cannot fix. You might think you're just type A, a high achiever, or naturally anxious. But what if I told you that your personality is actually a scar? This video is going to expose the mechanics of an invisible trauma that rewired your brain before you could even speak, and why the very thing that kept you safe as a child is quietly shortening your life as an adult. Let's look at the blueprint of your nervous system. For most children, home is a place of rest. But for you, home was a job site. Whether due to emotional instability, addiction, or simple neglect, the adults in your life were unable to regulate themselves. So you took the shift. Psychologists call this parentification. It's a reversal of the natural order where the child sacrifices their needs to stabilize the parent. But you didn't know that word back then. You just knew hypervigilance. Think of your brain like a radar dish. While other kids were playing, your radar was spinning 24/7, scanning for threats. You developed a sixth sense for the emotional temperature of a room. You didn't just hear footsteps, you analysed them. You could tell by the specific cadence of a key turning in the front door, or the heavy silence in the kitchen, if it was going to be a good night or a bad night. You became a master of micro-expressions, reading a tightened jaw or a shift in tone before the adult even realised they were upset. You learned a brutal lesson. You are safe only when you are useful. This created the fixer impulse that runs your life today. You physically cannot watch someone struggle without intervening. It feels like an itch in your brain that you have to scratch. You absorb other people's moods to the point where if your partner is sad, you panic. You act like you don't have needs because you learned early on that there was no room for them. You became the low-maintenance child, and now you are the low-maintenance adult, wondering why you feel so empty. So what is the cost? If this training made you responsible, empathetic, and resilient, isn't that a good thing? Here is the context you didn't know you needed. This cost isn't just psychological, it is biological. Studies on adultification suggest that children forced into these roles often show signs of accelerated biological aging. Their telomeres, the protective caps on their DNA, can actually shorten faster. You didn't just feel older than the other kids. It didn't just cost you your childhood. The data suggests it might be costing you your lifespan. This leads to the adult state of functional freeze. You are moving, working, and achieving. You look fine to the outside world. You hit your deadlines, you pay your bills, you show up to brunch. But your nervous system is stuck in a chronic state of threat. You are surviving in a suit. You aren't actually present in your life, you are just managing it. This manifests as toxic hyper-independence. To you, asking for help doesn't feel like connection, it feels like danger. It looks like dragging a mattress up 3 flights of stairs by yourself because asking a friend feels like begging. It looks like staring at a frightening medical diagnosis in a doctor's office and telling your family, "It's fine, don't worry about it," because you don't want to be a burden. You grieve alone. You struggle alone. And the dark irony? You resent the people you love for not helping you, even though you never let them know you were drowning. You have trained them to neglect you. Why is this pattern so impossible to break? Why, even when you move out and get your own life, do you still feel responsible for everyone? Why do you feel guilty when you sit on the couch and do nothing? Psychologists call this pathological accommodation. But let's be real, it was a hostage situation. You weren't a child, you were a hostage negotiator. Your job was to keep the captor, the parent, calm so that you could survive the night. You learned a twisted equation. I am lovable only when I am invisible, and I am safe only when I am fixing you. You learned that love is something you earn through labor, not something you receive just by existing. You are still holding up the ceiling, terrified that if you let go, the whole house will collapse. You attract partners who need saving because chaos feels like home. You attract bosses who exploit your work ethic because overfunctioning is your native language. Society reinforces this. We live in a culture that praises the hustler, the self-sacrificing mother, or the stoic father. Your trauma is rewarded with promotions and praise, which only locks the cage tighter. But your body keeps the score. The anxiety, the autoimmune issues, the burnout, these are not random. It is your abandoned inner child screaming for the attention you give everyone else. So how do we reverse a lifetime of wiring? Most people tell you to just set boundaries or take a bubble bath. But you know that doesn't work. You've tried that. You set a boundary, felt guilty, and took it back. You took a break, felt anxious, and went back to work. You have to do the shadow work. And it starts with 2 uncomfortable shifts. First, you must practice disappointing others. You must learn to tolerate the guilt of saying no. When you set a boundary, your body will scream that you are being bad or selfish. Your heart rate might spike, you might feel nauseous. Do it anyway. Let the call go to voicemail. Let the problem remain unsolved. You are retraining your nervous system that the relationship will survive your boundaries. You are teaching yourself that you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Second, you must validate the abandoned child. Stop gaslighting your younger self. Stop saying, "It wasn't that bad," or "they did their best." 2 things can be true. Your parents may have done their best, and your needs were not met. You have to grieve the childhood you didn't get. But here is the hard truth. You can set all the boundaries in the world, and you can validate your inner child all day long. But none of it will work if you don't change the one core belief that is running your entire operating system. There is one final, terrifying step you have to take to actually be free. And most people are too afraid to take it because it feels like giving up. That final step is resignation. There is a version of you, small, vigilant, and terrified, who is still standing guard inside your mind, acting as the general of the universe, waiting for the next shoe to drop, believing that if they just work hard enough, they can fix the family, fix the partner, fix the world. To be free, you have to look that child in the eye and give them a new order. Stand down. You have to accept that you cannot save everyone. You have to accept that some people will fail without you, and you have to let them. You are not the architect of other people's happiness. You have carried the weight of mountains on a back that hadn't even finished growing. It is time to put it down. True maturity isn't about how much you can endure in silence. True maturity is realizing you don't have to endure it alone. Your survival is no longer required. Your living is.